And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon Team Creation Series suggestion comes to us from Eric, who asked the question, and one I had, had to think, and I'm like, yeah, I hadn't done this one. Goku. What is Goku's Pokemon team? I have not done Goku. I did Gogeta, and FYI, spoiler, there's going to be some repeating from that team on this team. But I did Gogeta, but I didn't do Goku. So Goku. Let's actually get a couple of the ones right out of the way that were repeated from Gogeta. First and foremost, Goku is based off of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King from, Journey to the West. As such, let's get the one Sun Wukong-based Pokemon here that is Infernape. It's never 100% confirmed that's what he's based on. It's a good approximation that is what he is based on. The Sinnoh starters' final forms, if I remember correctly, were actually based on myths to some degree. Torterra is based on the concept of the World Turtle. Infernape is based on Sun Wukong. I don't know off the top of my head, though, what Empoleon is supposed to be on. Like, maybe... I know there's Napoleon kind of in its name, but I don't remember. Anyway, Sun Wukong, Monkey King, Goku, Sun Wukong, Monkey King, Infernape, Sun Wukong, Monkey King. Monkey King! But also the fact that it is a fighting type as well as fire, which means it can use energy-based attacks, be it its fire. Goku can't fire fire, but he can fire ki. I'm going to just check Infernape's move pool real quick. Because if he can learn Aura Sphere, then this works out better overall. Let's see here. So, Infernape, there's my buddy. Infernape is one of my favorite fire starters, hands down. Let's see now. From Legends Arceus on, what is this thing's move pool? Can it learn Aura Sphere is the big question here. I'm not seeing, or I don't even know if there's a TM for Aura Sphere. I don't think it can learn. No, it can't. Oh, well, there's egg moves too. Hold on. Aura Sphere. No, it doesn't look like you can learn Aura Sphere. It can already learn Shadow Ball, which is a weird thing to be able to learn. It can learn Shadow Claw. I apologize. It can learn Shadow Claw. There's also Focus Blast, though, which can work as a key-based attack in that sense. But Aura Sphere is always the one that kind of just stands out on that regard. Then also another one that made it on the team in the last video was Lucario, particularly Mega Lucario, to represent the concept of the Super Saiyan transformation. But to make it a little bit different, I did go with a shiny Mega Lucario to represent the color of Super Saiyan's hair. I just felt, why not? It would actually make sense, and Lucario actually had a legitimate shiny that matched Super Saiyan, so it worked out. I couldn't find a good enough graphic, so I had just pulled the graphic I could find. I think that's the best graphic I could pull that wasn't, like, artist-made. But yeah, so Mega Lucario, Aura Sphere, using the ability of the Aura to sense things that can work into just trained, enhanced agility, reflexes, Ultra Instinct, take your pick. It's also capable of learning the move Extreme Speed, which I was trying to find a mon that was able to learn that to replicate, the immense speed that the Saiyans and Dragon Ball characters can do, particularly Goku. But B, also to kind of be the instant transmission substitute, because honestly, teleportation, like, if I were to, in theory, mind you, go and look for a Pokemon that can learn teleport, out of all the Pokemon here that currently exist, I'm actually looking up right now how many Pokemon actually can learn teleport, because teleport is a pretty useless move in battle. That's not true. They actually did make it useful in later generations, because now it ended up switching places with a party Pokemon in waiting, if any, and if a wild Pokemon uses it, it flees. But the only Pokemon, at least by Gen 9, that can learn it are frickin' Kuraltz, Kirlia, Gardevoir, and Gallade line. If we go back further than that, we know Abra and Kadabra can learn it. We also have the Cosmog, Cosmonium, or Cosmonum, and Solgale and Lunala. Then you have Zatunatu, Claydol line, but only Claydol, Deoxys. There's a couple mon that can learn it. Teleport, though, is not a very widespread move. We might go back to Gen 7. Mewtwo can learn it. All the Deoxys forms can learn it. Raichu. Okay, after a while you do. That's did I see right? Did anyone know that in Gen 7, Arcanine could learn Teleport? Why the hell is Arcanine... Why is a Venomoth capable of learning Teleport? A Cloyster... A freaking Electrode is capable of... What the hell did Gen 7 do? Porygon makes sense. It's digital. Magmar, Electabuzz, Jinx, they can learn it. What on God's green earth is going on here with the freaking move pool? Anyway, that was me looking into Teleport. Point being, I didn't want to use Teleport. So even though that would have made more sense, I wanted to use Extreme Speed, and I believe both these guys can learn it. So anyway, moving on to the guys that did not make it originally into the video. I also knew I wanted another Pokemon there that would be at least a Pokemon that could kind of represent Ultra Instinct beyond the Aura ability of Lucario. And the closest move we have to Ultra Instinct would be Detect. Unlike Protect, which creates a barrier, Detect is more that you just dodge the attack. So with that, I'm like, okay, let me look at what Mons can learn Detect and see what is the best likely case here. And we ended up with the only legendary on the team, Urshifu, particularly Rapid Strike. I wanted to go with Rapid Strike, not Single Strike, because Single Strike is the dark typing of Urshifu, not the water typing Urshifu. Add to the fact that Goku, while can hit with a major strike, is a very fast and agile opponent. So he moves very quick. And especially if he's going ham on someone, then he's going to be moving and firing God knows how many strikes. So Rapid Strike made more sense here. Now we're getting to the ones where I'm like, okay, after I got to here, I spent literally 5 to 10 minutes just at my computer looking at them on, trying to remember everything I could about Goku, personality-wise, technique-wise, lore-wise, story-wise. I'm like, okay, what the hell else can I do? Because once I got past these ones, which were pretty obvious, it actually became very difficult to figure out what to do for Goku without just rinsing and repeating everything I did in Gogeta's. And I couldn't rinse and repeat everything I did in Gogeta's because I had one of the Cure Infused forms there. That wasn't going to work. I also was not going to put either Zekrom or Reshiram because they represent ideology. I believe it's ideals versus truths, if I'm not mistaken. They're basically two sides of the same coin. Goku doesn't have the sort of yin-yang, yin-yang, think words here, yin-yang type of relationship with anything. When I used it for Bolas, Nicol Bolas, when I did that video, that made a lot more sense because he has a yin-yang relationship with Ugin. But then not with Goku. I couldn't do that. I liked... I have to remember exactly why I put Komao on Gogeta's team, but I didn't really feel like putting a dragon type on the team. I wanted to try to go a pseudo route just for the power aspect of it, but nothing really made sense. What did make sense, though, is that Goku has an immense appetite. And what Mon has an immense appetite and also a pretty good powerhouse, that'd be our good buddy, Snorlax. Snorlax is, Snorlax is a fan favorite since Gen 1. Everyone loves that big old teddy bear who got the big old belly and eats an entire forest in one meal. And when you talk about a Mon with an appetite, you look no further. There are some Mon that are constantly hungry too. I could have gone Guzzlord, but Guzzlord is a dark dragon type, and that does not really add up at all. Doesn't add up at all, really. Yeah, he's constantly hungry, but Goku isn't constantly hungry. Snorlax is not constantly hungry. Snorlax just happens to have a huge appetite, as does Goku. So that actually made sense. And now the one that you might go, wait, what? Behold, the Pikachu, what is the equivalent of his Pikachu or his starter to Ash's Pikachu? The one that he does not evolve and is always with him, Grookey! First off, it's a monkey. Goku, monkey. There you go. But when thinking on Goku's history, his past, one thing he had up until he eventually had to get rid of it. I don't know. I can't remember why he had to get rid of it, by the way. I think it was so he could connect to the Lookout, but the Lookout can move on its own, so why doesn't he have the Power Pole anymore? Is the Power Pole. And there is no staff Pokemon. There's no Pokemon that wields a staff in combat or anything like that. There should be. I could see a starter evolving like this guy did. And instead of involving a drum, he could have evolved like a staff. But whatever. But he carries a little stick with him that he mostly just uses for drumming and for the branch poke attack. But it's still, by all accounts, it's his staff. He is little Goku with his Power Pole. And I guess if you use the right technique, you could make the illusion extends. What text does Grookey naturally learn? Let's find out. Let's see here. Grookey. Oh, Grookey. You were my Grookey monk. Monkey, Grookey. Let's see here now. Grookey. I like Grookey. He was my start, and I think most people agree. Cinderace and Rillaboom are actually like the two best ones. So I mean, he learns branch pokes by poking it with a sharp, pointy branch. Razor Leaf, Knockoff, Slam, Wood Hammer, Endeavor. Any of the TMs it can learn, could they technically count towards extending the length of a branch? No, and no. But look, they don't all have to be winners in that regard. I still like the idea that this is his equivalent to Pikachu on Ash's team. I like that idea that this is the one guy that doesn't evolve and he's his friend, has been with him forever. So I like that. I do like that concept. And he's a cute. I've always liked Grookey. I've wanted to add Grookey to a team for a while. Last but not least, this one I really went back and forth on putting on the team. This was actually going to be number 4, but it ended up being, I think, the second to last one when I added it. Is that I did want something that represented the fact that Goku had died multiple times. He had been dead for a while each time. But most of the ghost types didn't work. And then one stuck out to me, which would not have been a repeat of the Gogeta team. But it would have been, if I were to redo Gogeta's team, now Gen 8 or Gen 9 has come out, I would put it on the team as opposed to what I had put there. And that would be Annihilate. Now, first off, we don't have official artwork for Annihilate yet, so this is the closest we have. It's still decent. But Annihilate. Now, Annihilate, when you read the Pokedex entry and description for Annihilate, it doesn't work with Goku. It basically, it's Pokedex actually reads, if I can get the Pokedex up here, those Pokedex entries up here real quick. Its Pokedex reads that in both of them, when its anger rose beyond a critical point, this Pokemon gained the power that is unfettered by the limits of its physical body, and it has imbued its fist with the power of rage that is kept hidden in its heart. Opponents struck by the imbued fist will be shattered to their core. So, on the surface, that doesn't really work with Goku. This would work more towards a Vegeta, definitely a Vegeta, who's also died, or a Gohan, because it looks shockingly similar to Beast Mode Gohan. And it's got the hair up and everything like that. But when I tried to think more on if it could work with Goku, I realized that A, it's still a ghost and fighting type, which would work well for Goku in those instances. B, it's still Primeape. I mean, it's still in that line, so it does have the evolutionary the ape motif to it. But then you go into the fact that while that isn't who Goku overall is, Goku definitely has lost his cool-up point when he raged out against Jiren when he turned Super Saiyan for the first time. When he went up against Beerus in the Battle of Gods, I won't let you destroy my planet! Goku certainly rages out. Like, he definitely, it's not within his heart, but he rages out. And hitting opponents with strikes that shake their cores or shatter their cores, that still would keep in line with Goku. It's just that there are certainly individuals in the Dragon Ball universe, like a Vegeta or a Gohan, where this certainly would fit more, it would fit better. It just would fit better. By the way, I'm going to do a video at some point, and I mean like some point before the end of the year, where I definitely rank all the new Gen 9 mon, and maybe go through all the original gens and just rank give my thoughts on the mons themselves. But yeah, it's a Pokemon that, while there are arguments against it, there's certainly arguments for it, and I think those arguments outweighed the arguments against. So that, in a nutshell, is Goku's team. How balanced is this team? Well, it does suffer from the fact that it has 4 fighting types, but one of those fighting types is also a ghost, which means it alleviates fighting's weaknesses to physical attacks, such as it also helps cut down on the weakness to Psychic a little bit, because Ghost is strong against Psychic. The only weakness that actually has, and it helps negate its weakness to Dark, so the only weakness Annihilate has, if I'm not mistaken, is, and there should be a type chart down here. No, there isn't. They don't have a type chart for this. All right, then. But the only weakness Annihilate really has is fairy types. That's the only weakness it truly has, because its other weaknesses got cut in half by the other typings it has. and it's still fully immune to normal attacks. But other than that, I mean, you have you do still have 3 other fighting types, but none that actually repeat a type. That's the thing, is that, Infernape, it's got a times 2 weakness to water. That doesn't change. And ground, that doesn't change. Lucario also has a severe weakness to ground, and it's got a weakness to fire, and it's got a weakness to psychic still. And it can't hit ghosts, but it's got an immunity to poison at least. Grookey is just straight out weak to bug, fog, ice, and fire. If I'm not mistaken, I can't really think if there's any other type that is legitimately strong against grass. Urshifu still weak to electricity, but I mean the ground weakness. Fighting I don't think is actually weak to ground per se. It's just doesn't have any resistances. But yeah, I mean it's also weak to grass. So what are you going to do on that? There's not much there. Snorlax is Snorlax. So they all have weaknesses, sure, but the only real weakness that Snorlax has, I believe, is just fighting, if I'm not mistaken, or rock. I think it's fighting and rock or just fighting, one of the two. And Annihilate only has really one straight weakness. Lucario does have at least a resistance to Fairy, thanks to the Steel type, though Infernape, and apparently Fire is also resistant to Fairy, which is interesting. So, I mean, it's not the most unbalanced team in the world, certainly. There are definitely type repetition on here. There's certainly that. But still, it's ultimately pretty solid team overall. But that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. In the comments below. Do you agree with this team or you disagree with this team? But that is, in my humble opinion, the team for Son Goku. The main hero of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, and whatever other Dragon Ball series we'll ever get. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one. Have a good one.